Hey, aloha, everybody. Michelle Melendez with blossominnerwellness.com and standtogetherhawaii.com. This is also on the Voice of Kona Radio, 100.5 FM. Mahalo so much for listening on the islands and for watching on YouTube or Rumble or wherever you found this video, this interview. Today, I get to interview State Representative Elle Cochran. She is the state representative for Lahaina. She was there the day of the fire. She has been there ever since. She's spoken to the public, and the main reason for this interview is because when I was researching things for the book again that we're writing called The Great Maui Land Grab, How to Stop Elite Bankers from a Global Takeover, and the book is almost done. We're going to have it launched here shortly. Super excited about that. But when I was researching more information about for this book, I saw this article that literally said 1,100 voices get ignored by the Maui County Council for a bill that we're going to talk about that I'm going to Ellie, I'm just going to actually let you take it away because you were in this article. I was sick to my stomach when I saw this, but go ahead and
Yeah.
explain more about it.
So, real quickly though, the testimonies were stifled by the state House of Representatives. It was particularly, Chair Kyle Yamashita for the Finance Committee. So it wasn't the county council because I
Oh,
think you
okay.
just
Thank you.
county council.
You're right.
So there, yeah. So just to clarify that one.
Thank you for
So
that.
yes, I'm the State House representative, also a Finance Committee member. And so, but I also have been reaching out to the law office of Jana Poe and just trying to get a handle on the constituents that I represent. What are they going through with the law firm and things of like that, and what kind of information are they getting, and what are they, providing for the attorneys? So this is the only time I even heard of the Senate bill, and I believe it's so many bills through my head. I believe it's SB 2922. It was about securitization, and I'll explain what that is because it's a hard one to wrap your head around. And so the attorney at the time goes, we really got to focus on this Senate bill. And I had no clue. And here I am, state rep, Lahaina, and this has everything to do with funding and all this stuff in reference to Lahaina. So, or in particular, the electric company. And so,
Yes.
like, tell
You,
me more. What is this about? Give me bullet pointed, talking points to it so I can fight the good fight here. And so when I learned what it meant and what it was, wait a minute, okay, so basically an open line of credit for the electric company to bail them out, right? They're already in debt by, I don't know, a couple billion or something ungodly. And on top of not even including the devastation the fires had created. And so I'm like, that doesn't sound right, because at the end of the day, this bill was gonna allow the electric company to raise all the ratepayers' rates by 5%, up to 5%. They're gonna shoot for the whole 5%. And it just like until such bills are paid or whatever, it was just so open-ended. It wasn't like really
open
pinpoint,
it.
and it was like, wait a minute, you're already in debt, so we're gonna pay down your debt from previous, had nothing, no bearing on us, and you should be taking care of the fire, the fire victims. So it was just to me a ridiculous bill to pretty much give a handout or sort of a favor to the electric company, where if you talk to the litigants, with the attorneys, they feel they're at fault. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a combination of a lot of things, but I can guarantee that the electric company is not a fault. They should not, they were going to be released of liability. There were so many things in this. It started with 27 pages. I think it ended with 57 pages of wording and this and that. And so it was so hard for any just lay person to even understand it, and much less myself, who is a legislator. So it just kept morphing into something, but really the bottom line was not supportive, cannot go through. And so I just thank Jarrett Keohokalole, senator, who did put his foot down and say, no, I'm gonna take this back. And then the governor's trying to put pressure on him. Oh, come in,
God.
hang out in my office and we'll work through this over the weekend. Like, wait, what? So it was just a weird, I don't know. And I'm just so thankful that it did die, because at the end of the day, it really should not have happened. But in reference to all those testimonies, so I'm in the finance committee,
So
And I
I
did,
want to just pause you for a second because I want to let people really understand what this bill was. When I read it, it was in this short little blurb. It basically was going to allow the Hawaii Electric Company to raise rates for Lahaina fire victims for wildfire protection is what it said. Wildfire protection. So they're
yeah,
going to take the people who lost everything and they were going to raise the electricity bill on them and make their rates even higher. And what a lot of what I saw from the testimony, somebody said, no, make that bill or give that expense to the stakeholders of
yeah.
the Hawaiian Electric Company. Because I was like, oh my gosh. And then you guys, so that's what the bill was roughly about. And then what happened was 1,100 people's voices, testimony went missing the day before the vote, and then they were found 3 days after the vote or something like that. Go ahead and clear that up for me, Ellie.
So then I'm in the committee and I get word that you know that there are 1,100 plus opposing testimonies. I'm like, what? I'm reading our little thing and it says like 7 in opposition or something. I'm like, that's not what it's on record here. And they're like, we hand delivered hard copies, reams and boxes of these testimonies. So I mean, they were like form letters, fine, but they're all voices of individual people and families that say we oppose this. And it was hand delivered. So when I asked the finance office, they said, well, we thought it was a petition. We're like, no, if you picked up one of those pieces of papers, it said we oppose da da da. And it's a testimonial. You can clearly read it and know it. And so then I kept asking the question. It was Tuesday, I remember. I said, where are these testimonies to the finance chair? We don't have it. And I'm like, but where is it? Because I know it was hand delivery. He wasn't going there. I don't have it. I don't have it. So then recess. The next day we come back into session to committee, and he's like, I go, again, where are those testimonies? He goes, well, they didn't submit it through the portal, the online portal. I'm like, do you realize that a lot of people in Lahaina still have no Wi-Fi? That we have Kapuna who don't even own a cell phone or go online or anything? These are handwritten documents. Well, we only accept testimony via online portal. I'm thinking, really? You won't take a handwritten document in your hand? And so I asked the speaker, I asked our main leadership in the House, is this protocol? I mean, is this per each committee chair's purview if they only want to accept testimony via, in person or online, or what? Is there a law? Is there a rule? Is there what? And no one got back to me. No one answered my question. I kept asking it and they're like, it's under review, Ellie. We'll get back. And they never answered me. Finally, a few days later, like you just said, it got posted. Somehow, miraculously, these pages got found and they got posted. And I'm like, oh, so after the fact of the vote, though, after the vote went through, I was the only no vote on that whole bill. I'm the only no vote stating this same thing. Like, where's the testimonies? There's a ton of opposition from the actual people harmed by the fire. And they're like, everyone's looking at me like, what are you talking about? So yeah, all of a sudden it got posted.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they feel like, well, we did find it, we posted it, but it's a way too late in the process. So it just seemed to me like it was on purpose stifled. I don't, you know what I mean? I was not in the rooms when when this stuff happens, but it just feels odd and just not right.
Yeah, and that's actually what you said in the article. These voices were stifled. And I just want to
very much
just want to just send you so much mahalo, because it seems like you're the only person, well, not the only person, because there are some people that are still killing bills and doing their stuff, but you are the most outspoken person in the Hawaii legislative body that is standing up for the people. And I'm just like wondering, why are they doing such evil things when these people have not only lost their homes and many of their lives, and their whole entire way of life has been turned upside down? They're passing bills or trying to pass bills that will actually increase the rate of money for these people to stay in Maui. It's like, why are they doing this? This is unbelievable.
Yeah, and and I spoke to the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission, and they had issues. They're like, so in the bill it says we have the oversight, and we'll make sure it's allocated properly and spent the way it's supposed to be. But then I talked to the finance department and they're like, but the Public Utilities Commission are about utilities. They're like the utility lines, they're that type of minded people. They're not financial minded people. So finance is thinking if there's money attached, and have somebody who has a money mind, type background to be on the commission, to be part of the decision making, to be able to track the funds and stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, the bill didn't go through, but that was a couple of my recommendations. I think that's super smart. That's a great oversight. Why not? So if it had to go through, that would have been like a compromise. And also, any money should go directly first to the victims themselves, instead of
Absolutely.
anything else. And also, payment needs to come out of the shareholder stakeholders. They shouldn't continue to earn interest and dividends and whatever. Supposedly they did stop dividend payments to their shareholders, but I don't read their paperwork. So that's what they say. And it's just, across the board that that should have never been proposed and shouldn't even got to where it was. And it was just something obviously, I don't know, underhanded in the way that how can over 1,000 voices
Yeah.
opposing such legislation just disappear, whatever, or not
Mhm.
be stifled, hidden, whatever it was. And then, oh, all of a sudden, here it is. Yeah, by the way, we just happen to come across it now.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days later after the vote, here
Yeah, yeah,
1,100 opposing this
yeah,
bill,
yeah,
and unbelievable. So
yeah,
I do want to ask. I'm super grateful. There was another bill that was going to be passed that was the Lele Community District, which didn't get passed. Which thank God
right,
it didn't get passed,
right,
because that was going to give 9 people governing power over the entire west coast of Maui, not just Lahaina.
right.
Like
Yeah.
and not only that, but I read that bill, and it is fascist. I couldn't believe the language in it. It was absolutely unbelievable. So what is going on in the legislative body for somebody to even consider something like that to be put onto Maui?
All I can say, money, power, and greed. I can't sum it up any more than all those components are part of what created such a bill that thankfully, again, that one
Yeah.
died. But it was like, who in their right mind would even support? I mean, they were spinning it like, no, this is for Lahaina, voice for Lahaina people, building for Lahaina. No, it's not.
No, it's
And
not.
and it's like there are people in Lahaina who are truly Lahaina, voice, grassroots type voices. There's all kinds.
Yeah.
That's what makes up the world. So anyway, it's not throwing out names or anything like that, but some people have self-interest motivations. Some people
Yeah.
have, and it's like I'm just trying to cut through that, focus on why I'm there, and I'm beholden to the people and the constituents that I represent, and all of Lahaina, really, whether you vote for
Hmm.
me or not, because it's my home, I'll never leave. So it's like I'm trying to just get people back in homes. The residents of Lahaina want to stay residents and live in Lahaina. Pretty basic. And so trying to create this group that want to really take action and rebuild, literally rebuild, and not just talk about, have a plan one day thing, but we have a plan and we want to rebuild, bringing all the components and resources and people's of skill and knowledge together to reach that end goal. And so every day I'm having meetings. Jock, my Maui liaison, is also having meetings, and we're just trying to connect the dots and bring people together who want to take action, not just talk about it.
Amen. I love that. I love
And
that.
so and everyone wants to hear that because they keep going to these Wednesday night meetings and they keep walking away with, we got more questions,
Yeah.
and what did you just tell us? You didn't really help us. And so that's being super frustrating and challenging. I'm so happy that tomorrow's the last day of the state legislature, so I can go home full time. I need to be on the island. It's just
Yeah.
so hard and difficult for me to be on a whole other island, try and, long distance stuff. It's just not how I operate. And I think it's not conducive to doing your job. And now what I'm trying to ask of the state legislature, so every year we have an allocation for legislative funds, which is per each office. It's about $16,000, I believe. Last year I spent $100 of it because I was like, I don't need furniture. I don't need. So then this year, all I'm asking the state legislature is I'm going home to town that's totally gone from a fire and disaster, as we all know, can I use my legislative funds for some extra help? You know, because I got to go do site inspections. I'm going to have meetings. I'm starting to have them, but I need help in facilitating. I need help in fact gathering, taking notes, interviewing, whatever it is. I can't be all places at once and do this all by myself. Also, I'll be going into areas like the homeless camps or wherever I got to go by myself. I mean, I need a second person there and stuff. And the legislature's like, no, this isn't normal use of funds. I'm like, but this
Oh my God.
my town is not normal. It's not, it's unprecedented. I'm sorry, but is there any way I can utilize these funds? I go, you know, I haven't taken advantage. I didn't spend any money of it last year. I saved the state $16,000. I'm simply asking. And there, so far, I wrote this, you know, my office wrote this beautiful letter explaining all the details that it correlates to my legislative duties. And here's how I can enhance my job for the people kind of thing. And they're telling me still no. And I'm
okay. Can the
frustrated.
people help with this? Because I have a list. I have a Stand Together Hawaii. Who, like, afterwards, let me know the email or the phone number to call to complain about this, and we'll get this. We'll help you.
And I said, I go, you know, I'm gonna just give them another chance and do it because it was just via email. I feel like I need to sit in front of their faces and say, listen, please hear me, look at me. It's a very different world I'm going back to. Most of the legislators have second jobs. They're going back to their attorney jobs, whatever jobs they have. They're also going back home where they can go, you know, have a happy life and a happy community. I have a community that's devastated and gone. And we're continue to go through trauma and heart, everything. And so how am I just going to go home and be all take care of this by myself? If I can I please get some help? That's all I ask. And so far the answer is no, because this isn't normal and it's we don't use the funds for that. It's like,
no. That's not
it just doesn't make sense to me. Everybody I talk to is like, why not? I go, good question, why not? So that's one of my things I'm really trying to push on right now. And it's, I don't know, it's like the state, like you said, I feel like I am the sole voice a lot of times on a lot of different levels. And I'm not trying to rock any boat. I'm just trying to
do what's right.
Open and transparent. Yes, do what's right. Share the reality on things. So there's two huge bills that went through, and it's the SB 582 and SB 3202. The 582, which is going to be signed by Governor today, and I was invited. I'm not going to sign it. On the floor, I voted WR, which means with reservations. I don't typically do that because I feel like it's kind of wishy-washy. But the reason is because it's one of the bills that has all bunch of funding for Lahaina specifically. So of course I want money to go to Lahaina. But what I don't like about that bill is the section 1 first sentence. And the sentence, I don't have it in front of me, but the sentence basically says the legislature finds that the cause of the Lahaina wildfire is due to Hurricane Dora winds.
That's a lie.
Exactly. That's inaccurate. It's misleading. It's changing the narrative. And for me, I look at it like, oh, so you're taking the heat off an electric company. You're taking the heat off of what? You're now blaming it on a hurricane, which had no, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, no one has definitively said it had bearing on it. The winds were there. No, yeah, guaranteed. But that's not the cause.
I actually have on standtogetherhawaii.com/Maui fires. I have a video from is either Cron 2 or Cron 3 News of a chief meteorologist showing the trade winds coming down and then showing Hurricane Dora 500 miles away. And he literally says on television that this is not related to Hurricane Dora. And not only that, Ellie, but the Maui land grab that I'm writing with 2 other ladies, we have so much evidence of what happened was not normal. We have it's over 300 pages long right now. It's going to be done in May, where we'll have the PDF ready. We'll have the book launching probably the end of May. But and what I love about this book, and for those of you who are interested, go to standtogetherhawaii.com, click on join our email list. What I love about this book is at the end, we share what people can do, because I have interviewed two constitutional people who have helped people with the original constitution that has been basically thrown out of the government and many times over, and they help people regain our freedoms, as well as creating a public citizens bank, because this is all about the money. And when people actually have their own public citizens banks, which we used to have in 1776, in 1778, we used to have our own state-run banks, and we can actually have one that supports and funds the state. The bank, the Citizens Bank, can fund the state. Can you imagine what that would do if we got rid of the federal funding? Because the federal funding is the problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to trust the state's going to do what the state needs too, right? Here I am in the state legislature, and as you know, I don't trust half the people half the time. So the citizens is totally key, I believe. So, but anyways, yeah, and that sentence to me is rewriting history, because the more they keep saying it, the more it'll be printed, the more people are going to think it's the truth, and it's not. So I stood up yesterday and I said, I'm already trying to give my testimonial about, and then speaker goes, "Oh, you're in support?" I'm like, no, I'm a WR. And I know that kind of freaked everybody out. And I'm like, and here's my reason why. And I said, because the section 1 first sentence in this bill, SB 582, I don't agree. It is inaccurate, misleading, whatever words I used, because of the fact that I said, how is it that we, the legislature, are determining what the origin of the fire was? No report thus far has even determined that, but we, the legislature, are putting in a bill that we have determined. We find that the finding is that the Hurricane Dora caused the winds. And then I hear it coming out of the governor's mouth. I hear it coming out of finance chair. Oh, the wind, the victims of the wind. They're using the wind in every single,
It's a narrative.
Whatever public, their narrative. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys are rewriting and taking HECO and electric and any other possible origins out of the whole narrative in the public eye. And it reminds me, and people can look up this guy, Sereno Bishop, from the history of our kingdom. And he wrote so many lies, he used Kamehameha, the name Kamehameha as his pen name, just so disrespectful of our, and that's what he did. He rewrote the history, and because it was you can pick up 15 history books and it's the same words from him, which are lies and made up, to eventually, that's all you read, right? From generation to the next, that's the information they got, when it's total fallacy. And so that, it totally reminded me of that, what happened to us as a people in the past, and it's happening today. And it's just wrong. And so hence my reason why I'm not going to sign that bill. 2, why I voted WR. Parts of it, I would like the money part, but please, I cannot 100% support this, word for word, because that in itself, it's in the other bill, SB 3028. They mentioned that same sentence. All of a sudden, everything's caused by Hurricane Dora. Totally not so inaccurate. And it's
extremely inaccurate
as we speak in our laws right now.
That's
so
disgusting.
People need to understand that's misleading, and people need to, hopefully people can say something about it.
Absolutely.
They need to retract that. It's not true. Should not be in our laws.
If you have anybody we can complain to, or just make our voices known to, afterwards, just send me their email and their phone number, because I do put out actions to the people who've joined standtogetherhawaii.com. You don't have to live on the islands. You can live. I have people on Norway. I have people in Germany. I have people all over the world who have taken action against this absolute authoritarian government. It's quite the thing. The other thing I wanted to ask you was about the bill about eminent domain, because I know that the first thing out of the governor's mouth after the fire was, I'm looking for ways for the state to acquire the land for workforce housing. That was the first sentence after the fire, which is so disgusting. I don't even have words for it. But is there any bill that has eminent domain in it that is possibly trying to take over the land? I know there was a bill. I think it died.
I don't believe so. But again, so many bills go through. I'm in the seat and I can't even keep track, right? I mean, what did we vote through? 196 bills yesterday? Like, what in the world? And so I don't believe so. I can't, I'm not 100% positive. I mean, if we went to the state legislature website and just typed in search eminent, the word eminent domain, all the bills
Okay.
having that word in it, those words in it would pop up. I think the big glaring big ones died.
I think so
That
too.
term is horrible. So here's my thing. Eminent domain, really? Number
Yeah.
one person I called, the entity, so as a state person, I'm like, why do we need to beg private landowners or the county or anybody else for their land? We, the state, have land. HHFDC,
True.
right? So I went directly, DHHL, both entities. I said, we have state lands right here in Lahaina, right off the bypass, below Lahaina Luna, wherever, here's all the lands. Let's build. Will you build? Do you want to build? So why would the governor be running around saying eminent domain on other things when the state already has a ton of land, which currently today 450 homes are going up on it. So another 169 or what, I mean, they're building on state land. Eminent domain never had to enter the picture,
Correct.
ever. And so the first reason why they said we can't build, Elle, they said because no water to these properties. So I'm like, okay, well, can we talk to the people who are in charge? Like, Seaworm, DLNR, can we get us all together on the same table in a room, wherever, and just talk it out and figure it out and walk out with a solution here? So fast forward to date, obviously they figured it out because those 450 homes that I went on Tuesday to do the blessing and groundbreaking right above Wahikuli, that area, is going to have infrastructure. It's going to have water. It's going to have electric and all that stuff. But the number one, so I went straight to the person, homemade. Every time I say homemade, I want to say homemade bakery, but homemade Hawaii. It's the building company, I guess, whatever for this project. And I said, I heard you talk about the infrastructure, that this place is going to be fully, outfitted with it. And, right below us, I'm pointing at all the properties right below the project. These are existing homeowners, Lahaina long-term, lifelong generational people who lost everything. The lots are cleared, they're ready to build, but you know what? They don't have infrastructure. So these people are saying, we want to build and move back, but we're being told we can't get permits because we don't have sewer tie-in. We don't have water. We don't have, but how is the brand new project above us, right above us, it's just a stone throws away, getting all of that before us, the actual Lahaina residents,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God, I mean, that's their perspective. So I mentioned it to the homemade guy, and he got very defensive with me. And I'm like, listen, just trying to explain to you that the what people are talking about with the impacts of this project. I never said I don't support the project. I mean, good, it's going to suit a purpose, but I'm just want to let you know what the other community are saying in
Yeah.
reference to your project. That's
Yeah.
all. I mean,
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to know? Don't sit in the silent and go, oh, our little project, and not think about any other impacts you're creating around you. So that's something when I get home, I said, well, we'll talk more about this, which we will. And I hear the people. They're frustrated. Like,
Oh my
how are
gosh, that
these
would be,
things going when I've lived here all my life. I have family. We want to rebuild our homes, but now county's telling us no permits for you because you don't have infrastructure, but you're giving this brand new temporary site infrastructure. So I don't, something's wrong with that picture too.
something's very wrong. And honestly, when you understand the Constitution and what our forefathers wanted for us, they didn't want all of this jumping through hoops in order for people to live their lives. This is not the country that they had envisioned for us. So I just want to again say thank you so much for being a stand for the people. If you need the people's voice, I know that you're more than well connected over there in Maui, but I have people who, again, who've joined standtogetherhawaii.com from all over the world. So if you want a mass of people to flood emails and phone calls, please let me know who to contact and what needs to be done, because we can do this together. You're not alone. I know that sometimes you definitely feel like a lone ranger over there, especially in legislative when people are trying to pass these bills, which is totally against Lahaina and the goodwill of the people. Is there anything else you'd like? Go ahead.
I appreciate that. I think the two top key players would be governor and mayor, right? Those are the two top head honcho people who dictate everything. Their decisions trickle down to all of us, all their departments, but then if you're looking at this legislature, the two top people there, Senator Donovan Dela Cruz, who's the chair for the Ways and Means, the money, committee for the Senate. And then you have Representative Kyle Yamashita, who is the finance chairman.
And that's the one that disregarded those voices, 1,100 voices for that bill.
And I would recommend people looking at the budget. I know it's not like exciting or anything, but it is exciting if you look at some numbers and calculate how much money actually goes to the island of Oahu versus Maui. And even in this budget, set aside the big special emergency funds, just your everyday things like Lahaina Harbor. I've been trying to track just monies for the harbors in West Maui, Mala boat ramp, been since before the fire, the big king tides, the big winds and swells came in and made the entrance so shallow that you can't launch boats at low tide. You can't launch boats such as our fire rescue boats, our Coast Guard rescue boats, things of that nature, which are life and death situations.
Yeah.
They could not launch at all. So I kept saying, hey, the money, we need to use it for dredging. And it was like pulling teeth and begging. And this is last year's money, not even new money. And finally, in this budget, they changed the wording and put dredging in there. I mean, it literally brought tears to my eyes because I've been like, what part of this is so important? We need to do dredging, please, dredging. And so again, it was, and so that money's in there, old money, no new money this fiscal FY25. Lahaina Harbor had 4 million from last year, which I've been trying to track, and this year nothing. Lahaina Harbor is one of the biggest, is a big economic driver in the town of Lahaina. We should be rebuilding it. Now they're saying we got to wait till next session to get funding to fix the rest of Lahaina Harbor. I'm like, well, it's just none of this makes sense. This is an emergency situation. Fund it. And I'm just, it's again, very, very frustrated. So we got to track the money. And I think, so I told this last year, I believe, and it was very disheartening to tally up funding. So Upcountry got something like $41 million in funding for their schools. This is Upcountry, and that's just so happens to be the finance chair's district.
Is that Oahu?
No, Maui.
Maui, okay.
Paia and that area.
Oh, okay.
Upcountry below the crater, Hakalau crater. And then I tallied up funding for Lahaina, and it was like $875,000.
Oh my gosh. Oh
so
my.
I'm like, wait a minute, kind of a not equal here. Yeah. So I'm going back in the budget and I'm trying to find all those funds that I just tallied at 41 mil, and it's not in the budget. Like, I'm like, wait, where is, so I'm I'm trying to figure it out myself. It's like, oh, so if the money wasn't taken or the money was used, then it's just kind of not in print anywhere to look up. I'm like, how does that work?
Wow.
So here, and there's no tracking system. So in this year's budget, I'm like, oh my God, there's a bill for tracking for the state. I'm like, thankfully, because we're balancing billions of dollars and there's no such thing as a tracking system. That's how I track my harbor money. That's why I'm like, this is one of the biggest things, everybody. I'm so stoked because all I was trying to do is follow the 3.2 million for Mala and the 4 million for Lahaina. And guess what? There's no tracking system. And guess who wanted to put in a tracking system when she became deputy director for DLNR? Laura Ka'okua. I said, Laura, I need to track the money. She goes, there isn't one, but Elle, I come from the nonprofit world. We have to track every penny. I'm going to implement a program. She's no longer with the LNR.
Oh my goodness. Oh
She's
my
gone.
goodness.
She came to the community, talked to all the concerns, physically showed up at the harbors, one-on-one, face-to-face. No one ever did that. And then she's like, everyone's happy. Everyone's like, woohoo, finally we get somebody who's listening and interacting with us. And I'm like, yay, she's putting up a tracking system. And then it's like, wait, what do you mean she can't work with us in Lahaina? She called, she left me a like almost 2-minute voicemail, just so apologetic, like, Ellie, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm abandoning you folks. You know, we really were on the right track to get some good things done for Lahaina, but I was just ordered to not work on anything having to do with Lahaina. I'm like, and I haven't heard back from her. This is like last year. Like, she left me this voicemail. I don't know where she is. I'm like devastated. She was the only person that was helping and really working with us.
Oh my
Now she's not
gosh.
even in the department. Like, what is going on here? When someone wants to do some positive, good things, then they just get what? Let go. Like, oh, but we don't need you anymore. Like, what? No, it is. I'm sorry. There's
So
yeah.
in the book, The Great Maui Land Grab, I have a whole chapter on understanding how the US was actually taken over by the banking industry. And it's a whole history starting from 1791 all the way. I've interviewed a man who studied the Constitution for over 20 years. He's been an economist for over 60 years. Again, the couple that I've interviewed as well, they have been helping people for 70 years.
Wow.
Understanding the Constitution, understanding what has happened with this country, and that is just so disturbing on so many levels.
Yeah, I see on all
Unbelievable.
levels all the time. It's like, and so yeah, I'd love to. I think we got a lot of legs to stand on if we focus on Constitution.
Yeah,
It's
it's the
what
law of the
we're
land. It's the
based
Supreme.
on. Yeah, exactly. So
It's actually, go ahead.
you know Hawaii Transitional Governance, the group HTG. They're on Hawaii Island. They're out of
Okay.
Hilo.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, Hilo's 20 minutes for me.
Yeah, they're out of Hilo. They're doing a lot of great things. So yeah,
All right.
I'll have to connect you folks.
Yes,
We can
please.
talk things through, and I think you guys are walking on parallel paths here.
We have this book is going to blow people's mind about Lahaina and what's been going on with Chile, with Greece, all the fires
globally,
everywhere.
It's not just, secluded to but I think on a global level, it's happening on a lot everywhere.
Yes,
And it's
absolutely.
are they all connected? But
well, I'm gonna send you a signed copy of my book once it's ready.
yeah,
Again,
thank you. I'm so excited and looking forward to it. Thank you
it's
for,
gonna
I'm
blow your
sure it's
mind.
not easy to compile everything you have and do these interviews and
We have
I want to print everything. It'd be like a 10,000 page book, but you're whittling it down to the key points and important, so I'm excited about that. That one book, Build Back
Better
Better.
with Stephanie. She's helping us write this book.
Oh yeah, because
it's Stephanie, myself, and Tracy.
She pumped that out, and there's some key things in that book too. I got a signed copy of that one. So yeah, thank you, ladies. Thank you, folks, everybody involved with that. But
and what she says in that book is that Helco Hawaiian Electric will be the scapegoat, is what she says in Burn Back Better before any of this happened. Before this went down, she said it, and we actually there's over 200 resources in this book that we're writing. Over 200. We've been the amount of research has been, it's been insane, but it's almost out. So Ellie, I just want to say so much mahalo, and keep fighting the fight, and you're not alone. Let us help you, back you in any way that we can. What you've shared with me just now is just absolutely it makes me want to cry, actually.
It is frustrating. Every day I'm just like, everything is just heart-wrenching, and so that's why, please, can I use my legislative funds to help me do my job when I go home? It's a tall order, and how dare they think one person can do it all? Because there's so much to get done. And there's so many people to listen and to be to be with one-on-one, and they just don't get it. If you're not there and have been in it, you can't feel and know what we do. It's just, I get that, but have a little bit of heart, a little bit of open-mindedness and compassion, or something, feeling, I don't know, something. to say we want to help as much as we can, but you won't let me use money that's just going to lapse at the end of the day, like I did last year, because I didn't need it. Oh, but you're going to let me buy a couch for my office. You're going to let me buy a TV for my office right now. I don't want that. I need the money to go to the community, to help me be with the community. Go figure about that. I don't know. So
Well, the people are gonna take a stand for that, and
good.
I'll
Thank
even write
you.
a letter to the editor around that.
I'm just saying, I mean, why? I don't get it. And I'll tell you, that's why I'm going to give them one more chance and explain myself and have them try and hear me out. But if they don't, I'm blasting it. It's going to go to the news because this is so
yes,
wrong.
that should absolutely.
And the community's going to suffer. Well, not, they're suffering, but the community's going to not get as much help as they could. I couldn't potentially work to my full capacity because they're not letting me utilize my legislative funds, which actually help my legislative duties, which the funds are for. So I understand how they're not figuring that, but I can go buy a couch. Okay.
Well,
What?
yeah. Well, the thing is we have to really look at this, from why, because people have good hearts. This is, people love each other. We want to take care of each other. And when that's not happening, we need to look deeper about why that's not happening and go to the source of it.
Politics.
Yes, politics. You said it earlier. Power, money, greed. That's what you said.
Greed. Politics corrupts. It does. Well, maybe that word's not quite the right word, but what it does is people become beholden to others. They become the puppets of people who funded them, funded their campaign, funded whatever. So that's another thing. I think people, if they want, and it's again not like exciting to do, but go to campaign spending website.
I did.
Pull up the key people, like some of those names I mentioned, from governor to mayor.
Well, I looked up the governor.
See where their money's come from and see who they give money to. And that will be very telling as to how bills live or die, what bills are being presented or not. It totally will give you a lot of background and reasoning why decisions are being done the way it is, because you'll see.
Yeah.
People are beholden to so many different entities and things because of the money they take. Pull up my campaign spending website amount right now. My war chest is 19 cents. 19 cents. That's how much I have in my war chest right now. So what? It shouldn't be about money.
No, absolutely not.
What it takes out of me is time, energy, and effort, and physically being there. But the funds I need from the legislative funds is to help do my job. That and it's there for me to use. And this is how I want to utilize it right now, instead of buying a new table or a freaking light or whatever furniture for my office.
Yeah, I looked up the governor's donations, and it was over $4 million. And yeah, there was in-state, out-of-state. There was a category that said other. There was a category that said private people. I think the other was $3 million. So the most of it went to other. What's other?
And there's no breakdown of who other is. Yeah, I could probably guess, but anyway, so that's the thing, and for the county budget, my biggest, my two things that I have big glaring questions, and they voted it through, so I haven't seen the final version, but in every single department, there's a section for special projects. Special projects doesn't determine what special projects are.
That's right.
And the funding is like 500% increase, 600% increases for special projects. And the other one that has like 400 to 600% increase for funding is the equipment, maintenance and equipment line item for every department, including liquor control. Like, wait, how many bars, how many liquor establishments are no longer there in Lahaina, but yet you're quadrupling the funding for liquor control because it says something about having to vet through, the liquor commission complaints or issues or concerns, whatever. It's like, there's not even anybody there for you to cite, because there is no restaurant or freaking ABC store to cite for liquor violations and stuff. I'm like, there's no boats for dinner cruises. I'm like, what? Okay, I understand why the monies are going to that for all that too. So something's not right with the county budget in that respect. And it's grown since I've been there. It's doubled. The county Maui County budget has doubled, and also this budget adds 95 more positions. 90, almost 100 more positions in this year's budget. I'm like,
Wow.
why? Where? You know how much money that is?
That, oh my goodness.
And don't tell me you don't have vacancies. So now we have vacant positions that have money, salaries attached, typically, and that money's just sitting there. But you're
Oh
adding
my gosh.
95 more positions that also have to have salaries attached. I don't understand. There's so much. I mean, I'm trying to focus on the state budget, but those are some of the top glaring things I saw with the county budget.
Wow.
And I know it's like money. So you know what? We're not broke.
No.
Nothing. We
No.
are not lacking money right now. I just read the Star Advertiser, $300 million in the rainy day fund. Really? Could you toss down 3 million to help?
Well, do you know
Lahaina?
how, did you see how much money they put toward the screen? The 12-foot screen, 5 miles long around Lahaina was $2.4 million. And they got it funded within 2 weeks after the fire. And I asked the 33-year fire captain, I said, is this normal to put up a 12-foot screen 5 miles wide? He said, absolutely not. He said the reason they would do that is if they're hiding something. And one of the pictures I have in the book, The Great Maryland Land Grab, that shows the guy putting up the screen has a dried palm frond behind him, still there, palm frond, like dried, right behind him in the burn zone. Why didn't that burn? If this was a regular fire, that thing would have went up like a firecracker, but it's sitting right behind him. I'm like,
oh, the scenes, it's like scratching my head too, like a plastic flower pot here, totally intact, when a whole metal freaking chain link fence is melted right next to it. Like, wait, how come that, like the heat of that should have melted that plastic.
The reason is, I asked an arborist about this, almost 50-year, 48-year arborist, why? I said exactly that question. I said, how does a fire not burn a tree? He said, because the chemistry of the fire is a different chemistry than a regular wildfire, and the actual chemistry of the fire doesn't recognize the organic material. He said that's why trees burn from the inside out. That's why people's bodies were charred, and you could recognize the hair, the corn rolls in people's hair, the dog that still had his teeth and his ears and his nose, because he was completely charred from the inside out. It was burning the water from the trees, the chemistry. It's the microwave. He says he believes it's a microwave frequency chemical fire. He said that's why the metals would burn, because when you put metal in a microwave, it lights up. It totally, all electricity. But he says, but you put a chicken breast in, the chicken's doesn't burn up because it's an organic material. That's why that's what's in the book. The book is like, lays it all out.
What I did see, so physically, because I was there and went through the fire itself, what it was doing was picking up like fireballs, how or what, but then it was just being tossed around, like just balls of fire were landing erratically all over. So I see why something flew and landed on the middle of the lawn there. Then a ball landed across the street on the rooftop over there. You know what I mean? And so I saw fires just sort of erratically starting in different areas like that. And I was thinking maybe that's why it's spotty in the way it formed. I don't know, but that's physically what I did see happen.
And there was a person, sorry, there was a person flying over Lahaina during the fire, and there was a full circle. Now, are there any racetracks or any circular stadiums? No, in Maui. And this was a full circle. And I asked the fire captain, I said, is this possible? I mean, I have the video of this. I have the picture in the book. It's a full complete oval circle like this. He said the only way that could happen is if there was no wind. He said if there was no wind, the fire would go out like a circle, a complete circle. But there was a ton of wind, so it should have been jagged. It should have been jagged. There's no reason for the circle.
That's so much wind. Interesting. Well, it's not the end. I mean,
it's not the end.
We're not even a year down the road. Yeah. But I know I try to step out, because a lot of times, like nothing to see here, look over here, the whole shell game thing.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
But gotta be aware of all moving parts, because
yes.
At the end of the day, I totally have faith and trust that truth always prevails. So for
It
me,
does. It does.
move forward. I know what I'm doing. I know the path I'm on, and I don't know about anybody else, but I'm focusing on what I got to do for the people, and
I love
just
that
stand
about
my
you.
ground and keep at it, because I'll tell you, there's always things trying to knock me out of place and take
I
me off
bet. I bet.
track, and paint the whatever picture of me. I'm like, you guys talk all you want, but you know what? I walk my talk, and
You
people
do.
who finally get to speak to me understand, like, oh, I know, and I can see their mind going, well, this isn't quite what I was told about her, so whatever. It is what
Well,
it
that's
is.
why the people love you, and you're going to be in legislative another year, right? Like, what's your?
I mean, I just got called. I have to go file my paperwork. I still haven't. They're like, hey, you need to come and make an appointment. I'm like, didn't anybody else pull papers? Like, no, I mean, it looks like, yeah, I'm gonna
Thank God.
file and pull papers. I have to file to be official and all that stuff. So
Okay.
in the next couple weeks, I'll finalize that. And so my name will literally be on the ballot again, and then we'll take it from there. So
All right, everybody. Elle Cochran, state representative for Lahaina in Maui, and I cannot even tell you how much appreciation I have for you for standing up for the people, and I know that I'm not alone in that. Your voice is so needed in that legislative body. It is really you're really a godsend. You're really a godsend. So much
I don't
mahalo.
wanna go that far, but I feel like I'm in a place where I have to be, and
Yeah,
I'm representing what I need to. Next week, a couple weeks from now, I'll be in DC. So I was chosen to be a panelist on a discussion about community resilience, about our environment and things. So I got a lot to say. I'm sure I'll be sharing some stuff. Hopefully they'll ask me pointed questions about Lahaina and the fire and things of that nature. So we'll see what I can do on the more national level and getting the voice out,
all
but
right.
appreciate everyone too. I know everyone's being challenged right now, but I hope to alleviate that and at least have some solutions and action oriented solutions, not just
Awesome.
a bunch of hot air
Yes.
talk.
That's what I love about you too. It's like I'm an action person and you're an
Tired.
action person, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's why your book too, you said there's takeaways on how you can
Yep.
be part of the solution. I
Yep.
had my 30-minute Maui Unite shows on Akaku, our local TV station. And at the end of those 30 minutes, I'd always say, and that's how you, the viewer, you, the community member, can be part of, whether it was the marine debris pickup, like join these cleanup crews or go plant a tree for the restoration of the forest and whatever the cause was, but always how people, our community can be activated,
I love
to
it.
be the solutions. So
Yeah,
anyway.
I wanted this book. I really wanted this book to be not just this is what happened to Maui, and no, it's like this is what is happening to our country and the world, and how do we take our freedoms back? How can we step up? And
And now,
that's
yeah, I love it because I look at Lahaina being a pivotal point for that.
it is.
Like a Pico, right? The center to be a role model and an example of how people can get back what's rightfully
Yeah.
theirs.
Yep,
And then, and others come from that, not the other way.
absolutely.
So I'm trying to bring us to that point where we can move forward in that manner versus the way government is doing. So
Well, I
it's
love you so much
scary.
for that.
Yeah, I always say I'm in government, but I'm not of it. I mean, I just feel like I'm in it, but I'm not. I just still feel like
That's why the people love you, and that's why you're helping and your heart's in the right place. So, well,
well,
let's
I
do a quick
appreciate you.
prayer,
Okay,
and
thank you.
then I'll let you go. Great Spirit, infinite intelligence of all things. You are truly here everywhere on the planet, but especially you're in Maui. And I know that you are holding Ellie in so much confidence and energy and frequency and anything that she needs, good health to support her to do the work, for Lahaina and to do the work through you, Great Spirit, that comes from you in her heart. And I just send so much inner strength to all the people in Lahaina, sending anybody who's feeling hopeless just a spark of love and the knowingness that they are not alone, that the world has not forgotten about them, that they matter. And Great Spirit, I just know that this tragedy is going to be turned into something so amazing for not just the people in Lahaina and Maui and the Hawaii Islands, but also this country and the world, that Lahaina can be the pico, the start, the center of something that gives us back what our forefathers wanted for this country, which is freedom and peace and harmony and living pono with each other. And Great Spirit, I just know, we get to watch as that unfolds. And even though there are so many obstacles in our way, they are nothing to you, Great Spirit. They are nothing to you, this infinite intelligence that you are, that is beating our hearts and breathing our bodies and running the tides in the ocean and moving the sun across the sky. Great Spirit, we just know that each one of us is guided to do our kuleana, what is ours to do. And we do that with confidence that we get from you and the guidance that we get from you, knowing that this world can be a better place, that the people of Lahaina can flourish, can be staying in their homes and prospering like they've never have before. And we know that that is done. And we know that anybody who is in the legislative body who is not a stand for the people and who is not a stand for doing what is right, we get to watch as they are either peaceably removed from office or they voluntarily step down or something happens where it turns their heart to do what is right for the people of Lahaina and for the people of Maui and for the people of these Hawaii Islands. We know that that is happening, Great Spirit. Thank you so much for this journey called being in a human life. We know we have all that we need and more. And so it is.
Many.
Mahalo so much,
Thank you
Elle.
so much. Thank you for your time always. So I appreciate it. We'll be in touch. I'll let you know how we can activate the masses
Yes, let
to
me
get
know. Send me an
things done.
email.
Yeah.
And then I'll get it out. I'll get it out
Awesome.
anytime. And then
Yeah.
yes.
Great.
All right.
Appreciate
So I'll ask you something really quick right after.
it.
But aloha, everyone.
Okay.